Hello there guys, welcome to another my live video. So Manchester United beaten Burnley by 2 goals to 0 at Turf Moor yesterday night. That's my final game of 2019. It's back-to-back Premier League wins, and I'm very delighted with the result, and it's also my first clean sheet since September. It's our third away win in the Premier League so far this season, and we are now just 1 point behind top four. So the victory, does put us up to fifth in the league. Going to give you my overall analysis on the game. I thought it was another very good performance by Manchester United. Solskjaer did make around 4 changes from the 4-1 win against Newcastle on Boxing Day. He did rest quite a few key players. Obviously, because he's aware that Arsenal is on the horizon. That game is on New Year's Day. So he rested down Wan-Bissaka. Luke Shaw didn't start, but he came on in the second half. Paul Pogba, of course, wasn't part in the squad, but he's just recovered from injury. So I do presume that Paul Pogba should be starting against Arsenal on Wednesday. Tomway, of course, is out with a knee injury. So it was obviously Fred playing alongside Matic in that midfield. Obviously, Daniel James came into the team because he was rested in the game against Newcastle. But yeah, like I said, very good performance. Solskjaer give his more overarching view on the game, and he said the defending was brilliant. I thought Lindelof and Harry Maguire were fantastic at the back. I thought their distribution was really good, and I think Victor Lindelof is flourishing as a Manchester United player. You've got to say that Harry Maguire has addressed our defensive deficiencies. I thought, Fred had a really good game. I thought he switched to play well, especially in the first half. Won a lot of them second balls. And Solskjaer, of course, has compared him to Paul Scholes in that. And I think Fred's had quite a few good games this season for Manchester United. So I did say, we need to give him more time at the football club. I don't think Matic, was too bad either. I thought he put a good performance out in that midfield. Yeah, we had that. We actually created quite a few chances in the game. The goals came from Anthony Martial. He scored the first goal. That's now his 58th goal in all competitions since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015. Because as you all know, Martial is now into his fifth season at the football club, and it is his current 10th goal of this season. Martial's goal came from a mistake from Charlie Taylor. Well, that led to the goal. Andres Pereira had got the assist. I thought he operated well in that number 10. It was a lovely through Paul, found Martial, and it was a lovely finish, and that was 1-0. But I think, Martial should have had at least a hat-trick yesterday. Obviously, just before he scored, he had a shot cleared off the line. I think he also had a disallowed goal in the game. But yeah, he could have easily, had an hat-trick, Anthony Martial. I think we also dominated the possession. Rashford had quite a few chances early on. I think he hit the outside of the post. He had a really good effort from the free kick. And yeah. And I thought, the performance was really good. Obviously, we dominated the possession. Of course, David De Gea had to make a world-class save in the second half, obviously. And then obviously, Marcus Rashford scored right at the end in stoppage time. I think it was in the 95th minute of stoppage time, and Daniel James had got the assist. It was a lovely through ball by James to find Rashford. Obviously, Rashford found, rounded the goalkeeper. I think got a bit fortuitous, with a rebound off the keeper, but still had a lot to do. And that's Rashford's now 16th goal of this season. His 61th goal for Manchester United in all competitions. I think this is since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016 and that. And like I said, Rashford is in absolutely scintillating form. And I say especially his record against the top six sides is very good. But yeah, I thought Rashford, put a very, very good performance out. Rashford scored, 2 goals in his last 2 games. Martial, 3 goals in his last 2 games because he scored, yesterday he also scored twice against Newcastle on Boxing Day. So, yeah, very, very delighted with the result. But I don't think, there was one bad individual performance yesterday. I thought Daniel James, looked very effective. But like I said anyway, Daniel James has enjoyed a very, good start to his Manchester United career and that. And he has been revelation. So that is our 8th win now of the Premier League season. We have registered 31 points from 20 Premier League games. So now we are starting to find some consistency. And, Solskjaer was speaking before the game. He's convinced, he said he's convinced we can get the top 4 if we can find that consistency. And he did obviously, say, did Solskjaer that, our team, going ahead into next season, that, will probably have more challenges. But Solskjaer still did say that he still expects a lot from the team this year. But yeah, we are rejuvenating ourselves. And like I've said recently, there's a lot of aspects of our game that have improved. Recently we're creating more chances. We're keeping the ball better. Certain players stepped up to the plate. Don't get me wrong, there's still some aspects of our game that I do need to improve. But it is good now that we're starting to get results against the lower teams, because like I said, this season we've had some good results. We've done really, really well against elite opposition. But for the vast majority of this season, we haven't really replicated that against lower opposition. But we've done that recently, which is absolutely fantastic. But we are all aware that games are coming up thick and fast. We've obviously got Arsenal on New Year's Day at the Emirates. Then we've got Wolves next week in the FA Cup third round, which is going to be another difficult game for us. Then we've got Man City coming up in the Carabao Cup first leg. Then Norwich coming up, and then we've got Liverpool, of course, coming up. So yeah, games are coming up thick and fast for Man United. But I think if we can keep this good vein of form up, then I think we can definitely get something out of Arsenal on New Year's Day. I definitely think we can get something in that. But yeah, like I said, Solskjaer has got many expectations to exceed in his second year at the football club. And Solskjaer has, been permanent manager now for almost 10 months now. Obviously, analysing the vast majority of that 10 months, it has all gone wrong. But there's still plenty of time to turn things around. Obviously, we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years, and this is why for the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer has been under intense pressure and that. But I think reflecting on our good run of form, a lot of pressure would have eased off him. But I've got to be honest, I think the performance against Burnley yesterday night, the performance against Newcastle were totally comparison to the one against Watford, because I thought the Watford game was absolutely abysmal. But to be fair to Watford, I think they seem to have turned a corner anywhere since Nigel Pearson took over. Obviously they beat Aston Villa comfortably by 3 goals to 0 and all that. So they have seemed to have rejuvenated themselves. So yeah, we're definitely now in that race for that top 4. But these are quite a few teams. There's us, there's Chelsea. You could still probably say Arsenal are in it. Tottenham are in it. The good news is Tottenham drew 2-2 with Norwich yesterday. You could say Wolves are in it. They had a good win against Man City. I know I did say, didn't I, around 3 or 4 weeks ago, that I'm very, very sceptical, that we're going to get that top 4. Because it wasn't looking likely, that we was going to get it, because, we was too far behind. But obviously, Chelsea have lost 3 of their last 4 games. Now, all of a sudden, we're back in that top 4 race. Obviously, if we'd have beaten the likes of Watford, if we'd have beaten Everton and Villa, we obviously would have been in that top 4 now. And I think there's a chance we can also get some silverware on the board this season. Definitely, I think we've got a fantastic chance of winning the Carabao Cup. we've got a chance to win the Carabao Cup. I think if we beat Man City in the Carabao Cup semi-final, then I'm convinced we can win it. We can also win the Europa League. That's another route we can get Champions League football secured for next season. We can win the Europa League. We did it a couple of years ago under the Jose Mourinho era. We won Group L now. We're into knockout stages of the competition. So I think it will be it could bring some winning mentality to Man United if we can get some silverware on the board. And Solskjaer was recently, talking about how important it is, for us to, start lifting trophies, because we have lots of silverware in the last 6 or 7 year and that. Maybe, reflect on the last couple of games in that, and there've been positive results and performances. Maybe quite a lot of Manchester United fans now have changed their perceptions, regarding Solskjaer and that. Maybe a lot of Manchester United fans now feel as though he's the right man, or believe he should be determined, to be given more time at the football club. Like I've said to you, my perceptions won't change regarding him. Like I've said to you, if we can go on a good run until, March or something, or if we can keep this consistency up until the end of the season, then my perceptions, may start to change regarding Solskjaer and that. But whatever the outcome, whether he succeeds as Manchester United manager or not, we'll never forget, what he has done for the football club, because he was a great player for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, But I think as a manager, he's totally comparison to how he was as a player. He hasn't really got a pedigree behind him in terms of management. That doesn't mean he won't succeed at Man United, because at the end of the day, he's managing a club, that he knows inside out, And this is the third club he's managing, Solskjaer, because before he came to Man United, he managed Mould. Obviously, he enjoyed a short tenure with Cardiff. But yeah, we need to give him more time, and our board are determined to back him. Ed Woodward is determined to stand by him. The vast majority of our players have got faith in him. But yeah, we need to give him at least a couple more transfer windows, to see who else we can recommend in to the football club. And it isn't long now until the January transfer window opens. Solskjaer did admit not too long ago that it isn't assured that we will make many signings in January. But I think, we're orchestrating on, recommending at least 2 signings to the football club in January, because next year we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. We've got to get the right calibre players in that can elevate us forward and get us back, to being a competitively level football club. But the 2 main priority areas where Man United need to strengthen up, we need a couple of midfielders. We need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also need a couple of strikers. I think we also need a right winger. And there's possibly no other areas in the squad as well that do need to be addressed, definitely. But Solskjaer is set to be given unlimited funds. So, I took into account our board are determined to back him. I think, we're orchestrating on spending from 250 to 300 million pounds. Well, that's me estimating on recruiting new players into the football club. But I think we need at least another 5 or 6 more signings. I also believe we need to focus on the outgoings, because I still believe these are problematic players at the football club that I do need to be moved on, definitely, and all that. I still don't know if Solskjaer is the long-term solution for Man United, but we won't sack him now. I can assure he will be here in January. He definitely will be here at the end of the season. But I'm still sceptical about him seeing out his 3-year contract at the football club, because Solskjaer's got a 3-year contract with the football club worth around £7.5 million pounds a year and that. Don't forget, prior to the Newcastle game, Solskjaer had written the remainder of this season off. He's already making plans ahead of next season. But obviously, he knows we're not in that commanding position, that we currently should be in. Reflects on the size and the potential of the club, reflects on the amount of money that's being invested into the football club over the years in all the managerial areas. Not only that, we have got players on big contracts at the football club, but we're starting now to turn a corner. So hopefully, we can get another win against Arsenal on New Year's Day, because also Arsenal are really struggling. Obviously, not too long ago they've just recently recommended Mikel Arteta in. Obviously, what was stemming from Arteta, sounded really good from an Arsenal perspective. About all the noises, and it's a clean slate for the players. Arsenal, of course, drew 1-1 with Bournemouth on Boxing Day. That was Arteta's first game in charge. But like I said, I don't think Arteta is the right man for Arsenal. Hasn't got any managerial experience. This is the first club he's managing. Maybe he got some tips off Pep Guardiola, did Arteta, when he was working alongside Guardiola at City for around 3 years, because he was the coaching assistant. Arteta, of course, is on a 3.5 year deal. I think Arteta basically replicating Solskjaer in that aspect. He's obviously orchestrating on recommending more signings into Arsenal next year. Obviously, Arsenal, I think, are going to consider getting rid of more players. you know. But obviously, Arsenal have got big ambitions for the future, just like Man United have, and that's obviously, to get back to winning major honours in that. This is something, what Arsenal also, do want to do. Arteta knows Arsenal inside out, just like Solskjaer knows Man United inside out, Lampard knows Chelsea inside out, because Arteta served, 5 years as a player for Arsenal, and made a total of 150 appearances. But Arsenal, of course, have got to give him time and that, to see who he can recommend in next year. But I think, we can probably, get something out of Arsenal, definitely. But we'll see in the preview for that game. Will be coming up on this channel. It will be tomorrow, I presume, the preview. And then probably the press conference will be coming on the same day, or that will be coming on New Year's Eve. I still believe, by the way, that we need to see a variety of changes at Manchester United. I still believe that we need to get rid of our current board, because our board have been a liability for several years. I think we also need to get rid of Ed Woodward. I think we also need to get rid of the Glazers. I think it would be beneficial if we could recommend a director of footballing, because we was in for the director of football during the course of the summer. I think we need to get rid of our coaching staff. So I think we still need to see a variety of changes at the football club. But yeah, and the good news is now players have come back from injury and that. Obviously, we've still got a few players out. Obviously, Paul Pogba's just come back from injury. Because he made an impact, when he came on in the 2-0 defeat against Watford. Also made an impact when he came on in the 4-1 win against Newcastle. And I thought he actually would have started the game against Burnley, but he didn't even make the travel, did Paul Pogba and that. But now it's anyway good to see him back in action. Bay and Fosu-Mensah have been out with knee injuries. Bay's been out since pre-season with a knee injury. Fosu-Mensah's been out with injury since he was on loan with Fulham. Dalot's now recovered from injury, because he played for the youngsters the other week. And Solskjaer said from then on he should be fine, which is good. I've got some news to update you with regarding McTominay. This is actually bad news, and Solskjaer has provided us with an update. McTominay is out for 3 to 4 weeks. This is stemming from Solskjaer, and it's actually coming from Sky Sports, which is obviously no reliable source. Solskjaer confirmed that McTominay damaged the ligaments in his knee in the 4-1 win against Newcastle, and it wasn't too long ago that McTominay was out with an ankle injury. And I said, McTominay has been revelation this season. I have been very impressed with him, McTominay. And I think if he continues the consistency up, he can emulate into a Glasgow midfielder. But so now he's going to be missing some key games. He's McTominay, and I did say, didn't I? I hope the injury wasn't too severe. So it must be quite bad for him to be out from up to 3 weeks, to a month. But yeah, that's very, very disappointing. Obviously, Rojo, I think he's still out with injury. He's got a muscle injury. He's out until the new year and that. I've got to say, Young, I think he's one of the players that does need to be moved on next year. I thought he actually had a good game yesterday at right back, to be fair. I thought the fullbacks did really, really well preventing crosses in that. Young, of course, has been a long-serving player at the football club. He's now into his ninth season at Manchester United, but he's enjoyed 8 years at the football club and that. He's past his sell-by date, he's 34, he's nearly 35 now. I think he's 35 next year. But he's initially lost his place in the team because since the arrival of Wan-Bissaka, he's been established as our first choice right back under the Solskjaer era. But, Young can still have the odd good game here and there. But his current contract anyway does expire at the end of the season. I think yesterday that was Ashley Young's 260th appearance for the football club in all competitions. I thought Brandon Williams was fantastic yesterday at left back. He started at left back. He shows good attacking intent. He tracks back well. And I think now Solskjaer views Brandon Williams as his first choice left back. But like I said, anyway, we've got a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve. I've got to say, Solskjaer does rely on the kids a bit too much. But I think, the likes of Greenwood, Williams, Tuanzebe even, Garner, I think all of them are going to become successions in the football club. I think we need to consider, offloading some of the young upcoming players. That would be very beneficial if we did do that, because I've got an element of concerns about them. I've got an element of concerns about them and that. But a good result yesterday as well, especially taking into account that Pogba wasn't playing in the midfield. Bissaka was rested and that. But I thought Lindelof was absolutely fantastic yesterday. Like I said earlier on in the video, he's flourishing as a Man United player. Wasn't so good in his first season when we've recommended him in from Benfica. I thought there was vast improvements in his game in his second season, and I think he's been absolutely fantastic this season. I think he's had a bad couple of games this season, but prior to that, he has done really, really well. So I've got to praise Victor Lindelof for that. But yeah, so like I said, hopefully we can keep this consistency up. I know there's been a lot of rumours regarding Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously, for the vast majority of this season, a lot of Manchester United fans have been demanding him into the football club, and Pochettino is totally a comparison to Solskjaer. He's totally comparison to Solskjaer. He's more experienced. He's well Premier League proven. My only element of concern I've got about Mauricio Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. But prior to that, I think he's a really good manager. He enjoyed 5.5 good years with Tottenham. Like I said, in total for Tottenham, he managed 293 games in all competitions and won 159 of them. I think around 202 he managed just in the Premier League game alone and won 113. Yes, he did. And obviously he's managed 2 Premier League clubs so far, because before I was at Tottenham he had a short tenure with Southampton, and before I was there he was at Espanyol. So 2 Premier League clubs he's managed, and in total he's managed 3 clubs as Pochettino. And if we did get him in, wouldn't have to pay anything to recommend him in, with him being managerless. But he's a very, very good manager. But we won't get him in because we are obviously, willing to stick with Solskjaer, because us getting rid of Solskjaer now anyway wouldn't solve many problems at the football club. But we've been long admirers of Pochettino, because we went in for Pochettino after the dismissal of Jose Mourinho in December of last year. But obviously, where we didn't get him. But our preference obviously, was Solskjaer, because we saw it as that Solskjaer knows the club inside out. Plus Solskjaer was a cheaper solution. We didn't pay a substantial amount to recommend him in from Mould in the football era anyway. And this is why I went with him. He did really, really well in that 3 month period when he was the interim manager. So this is why we did decide to keep Solskjaer on. Obviously, a while back there was a lot of speculation about Massimiliano Allegri becoming Man United's next manager. But either way, I think Pochettino's going to get another job. He's obviously being linked with the Bayern Munich job. He's being linked with a job at Real Madrid. At one point, he was linked with the Arsenal job. I said I was very sceptical about him going to Arsenal. But yeah, so like I said, I've already given you an update on some of the transfer news and that, haven't I? As I updated you yesterday, about Erling Haaland and James Maddison. Reportedly now, they are our two main priority targets. I think now we could be set to miss out on Erling Haaland because reports allegedly said yesterday that Juventus have reached a verbal agreement with the player. It's a deal worth around 6.8 million a year. This was coming out of a few media outlets, and this is what it said. But Erling Haaland's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. There's been a number of clubs that have attracted their interest in him. Obviously Man United have been in for him, Juventus, Borussia Dortmund, RB Leipzig, have also, been in for the place. And now reportedly, Juventus are emerged as the favourites to sign him. I think mainly because of the interference of his agent Mini Raiola, because I think his agent Mini Raiola has instructed him to go to Juventus. I don't think he's keen on his client coming to Manchester United and all that. But I think the other week we was emerged as the favourites to sign Erling Haaland. We was emerged as the favourites to sign him because obviously it's confirmed the other week that Solskjaer had flew to Austria with Ed Woodward to meet up with Erling Haaland regarding a January transfer to Man United. Also, it allegedly said that he had boarded a plane from Norway to Manchester. This was prior to the Everton game. But again, Solskjaer had currently denied this. And allegedly, Erling Haaland had told Solskjaer that he wanted to join Manchester United. And it reportedly said he would cost us in the region of around £76 million, which is a substantial amount. But then we'd have to loan him back to Red Bull Salzburg for the remainder of the season. But we have identified him as our number one priority target. I think he would be the right calibre player. He is only the age of 19. Solskjaer, of course, still wants to continue with the policy of recruiting young players into the football club, like he did do during the course of the summer. But yeah, there was he's a really, really good player, and he's played under Solskjaer's guidance during his period with Mould. So Solskjaer is keen on a reunion with the player, but analysed him this season at Red Bull Salzburg, he has been a revelation. He scored 28 goals in 22 games in all competitions. But whether he comes to Manchester United or not, I still think it's very imminent that he's going to be leaving Salzburg either way. Like he said. But I would be excited about the prospect of him playing alongside the likes of Daniel James, Anthony Martial, and Marcus Rashford in our attacking their line. I would like that a lot. But yeah, so maybe now Juventus are going to enter the race for the player. And it reportedly said as well that we're set to off. that we're set to offer him a substantial contract. I think it said we're set to offer him in the region of around 200 grand a week, to convince him to come to Man United and that. But we will see what happens. But it could still be our first signing in January and our fourth signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. James Maddison, I give you the news regarding him yesterday, James Maddison. It reportedly says, we are determined to spend up to around £80 million for James Maddison. I think it's probably, more imminent that if we are to get him, we'll get him in the summer rather than January, because some reports said we've identified him as our priority target for the summer, but some reports are saying, we'll go in for James Maddison in January. Now, again, I think he'd be the right solution for Man United. He's predominantly an attacking midfielder, but you can also play him out wide. I think we actually seen James Maddison as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba and that. Even though I think Paul Pogba is going to stay at the football club in January, but I'm very sceptical that from now Paul Pogba will spend the entirety of his career with Manchester United. James Maddison for Leicester in total has made 58 appearances in all competitions, and but the vast majority of his appearances have come in the Premier League. He's made around 54 of his appearances in the Premier League. But Leicester are aware of the transfer speculation, but they know how much of an imperative player that James Maddison is. James Maddison's played on the left quite a few times because Brendan Rodgers has put him in that position quite a few times. But he's in his second season now with Leicester, still 3.5 years left on his deal. I think he's replicating, what he did in his first season with Leicester. I thought he was good in his first season with Leicester. Don't forget, he created more chances than any other player in the Premier League. And he's only the age of 23, but I'd love him at Manchester United and that. And it would take his career to the next level if he came in. It'd be good to come and see him experience these facilities. Solskjaer did say, we've actually got one of the best facilities in the country. And, £80 million I think is too much. So obviously, like I said, Leicester would demand the same or similar fee to what we paid for Harry Maguire in that. But I'd love James Maddison, Manchester United, definitely. But I think maybe we should orchestrate on being sensible with our recruitment because, we've overpaid for players in recent years. A prime example, £50 million for Fred, 80 million for Maguire, £89 million for Paul Pogba. Obviously when we got Lukaku in back in 2017, we paid £75 million for him. I thought Lukaku enjoyed a good first year at Man United, but didn't really replicate that in his second season. Lukaku enjoyed 2 years at Manchester United. He scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions and that. But obviously we had element of concerns about him, and also he initially lost his place in the team, so this is why we had to get rid of him, and he went to Inter Milan in the end. But we actually recouped the money what we paid for him from Everton because we got £70 million from Inter Milan, but we still overpaid for him at the time. But we should maybe orchestrate on being sensible with our recruitment because it's not always about getting them Glasgow players in. That's not always the case. I've got a prime example. Liverpool, they don't overpay for players. They're sensible with their recruitment. And look where they are now, sitting top of the league. They're 14 points in front of City. The 14 points in front of City. They're 10 points in front of Leicester. 10 points in front of Leicester. And they're on course to win their first ever Premier League title because they haven't won it all in all for around 30 years. But we know we're nowhere near on the level as Liverpool. We're not on the same level as Liverpool yet. Obviously, we know we're not on Man City's level. It's going to take us at least a couple of years to emulate to their level and that. I think it's just dependent on who we can recommend in to the football club next year. I don't think we're going to win the league for at least the next couple of years, maybe the next 2 to 3 years in that, because we're not good enough to win the league at the moment. But I did say, didn't I, at the start of this season that I expect us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season, because I think last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th last season, and I think that's actually the lowest we've ever finished in the Premier League game, or is it 7th, the lowest we've ever finished in the Premier League game? I think it's either 6th or 7th anyway. It is one of them. But we don't want to persistently keep sacking managers anywhere because we've already sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Obviously we sacked David Moyes after 10 months. Obviously that was the mistake, and the only mistake Ferguson did make at that time was recommending David Moyes in. Is there a possible chance now that David Moyes could go back to West Ham? Because I've just remembered Manuel Pellegrini's just been sacked by West Ham anywhere. I think, this was his second season with West Ham was Pellegrini's, but now he's been sacked. Reflects on West Ham's 2-1 defeat to Leicester yesterday. But he has been sacked. But yeah, there's been quite a few candidates, mentioned maybe Sam Allardyce could go back to West Ham. I'm not too sure. But yeah, so we should have never recommended David Moyes in. Obviously then we got Van Gaal, and he got sacked despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And then obviously Mourinho enjoyed the 2.5 year tenure at the football club. Did win the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season, but I already give the variety of reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era. But Jose Mourinho is the longest serving manager we've had, since the Alex Ferguson era. Some people believe maybe if Solskjaer is given, maybe 3 to 4 years, just like Ferguson was, when he got recommended in from Aberdeen back in 1984, then maybe Solskjaer can emulate into Ferguson, because don't forget, Ferguson didn't settle in straight away. He didn't win out in his first, 3 to 4 years at the football club, but look what he went and accomplished. I'm still very sceptical that Solskjaer, will invoke Ferguson's legacy at the football club, but I've got the same perception on any other manager. I don't think would ever be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson. That's obviously something we have got to accept. But I've got to say, if we can finish in the top 4 this season, or if we can win the Europa League, I'll analyse it and say, that's a very, very good season. Then it will be a step forward, and then we'll obviously hope for more, next season, because we are aware anywhere when this is a transition period, and I think Solskjaer himself is aware of that. But we will see. But the vast majority of these players are not Solskjaer's. There's only 3 players that are his, who we recommended into the football club in the summer. We spent £150 million, nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. And they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Man United careers. The vast majority of these players are actually Jose Mourinho's. Mourinho recommended 11 players in. 2 players have left who Mourinho brought in, and that was Sanchez and Lukaku. So there's still 9 players here from the Mourinho era. I think he spent the most money into the football club, did Mourinho. He spent 400 million or just under 400 million pounds on players. There's still some players here from Van Gaal, and actually, Van Gaal recommended a lot of players in. To be fair, he did. And there's still matter here from the David Moyes era. Fellaini was here, but he left in January. There's still about 3 players here from the Alex Ferguson era, but like I've said, we've had long-serving players at the football club. We've still got some long-serving players here now. Like I said, Young has been here 8 years. Jones has been here 8 years. Matta's now into his 6th season at the football club. You've got De Gea now, that's been here 8 years. He's into his 9th season at Man United. You've got Martial now, that's into his 5th season at the football club. Rashford's been here for several years. So we have got quite a few long-serving players in that. So take that into account. But yeah, like I said, very, very delighted with the result. We are building momentum. There seems now to be more confidence in the team, which I'm very, very delighted about. And these type of performances of what we wanted to see. These type of performances, this season, and we haven't seen that enough. I'm afraid, but I've got to say, very, very delighted with the result. Definitely delighted with the result. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.